Some distances don't feel empty. They feel filled with thoughts that keep returning, with moments replayed softly in the quiet parts of the day. Even when we are apart, you don't feel far. You stay present in the way my heart remembers without effort. I wake up with your name resting gently in my mind, not loud, not demanding, just familiar. The morning feels warmer because you're there in my thoughts. Even if you're not here beside me, I don't rush the feeling away. I let it linger, because missing you has learned how to be gentle, not heavy. Some longing doesn't ache, it comforts. I'm still thinking of you in the calm spaces of my day. Not because I'm lonely, but because you belong there. Distance hasn't taken you away, it's only changed how I hold you. There are moments when something simple reminds me of you. A song playing softly, a familiar laugh nearby, the way time slows in the evening. I don't fight those moments, I welcome them, thinking of you. Feels like a quiet conversation that never really ends, just pauses until we meet again. Connection doesn't fade with space. I'm still thinking of you without needing to reach out. My heart knows where you are. Even when my hands can't, this distance isn't silence, it's patience wrapped in affection. I imagine the sound of your voice, the way it settles me, not because I need reassurance, but because familiarity feels safe. Missing you doesn't unsettle me, it reminds me of what we share, of how closeness can end quietly. True closeness travels quietly. I'm still thinking of you, and that thought feels warm. It doesn't pull me apart, it keeps me connected to something steady, something real. There's no urgency in this longing, no fear, just the calm, knowing that what we have isn't weakened by time or space. I don't count the days impatiently, I let them pass, carrying you gently through each one. Waiting can feel soft when trust is present. I'm still thinking of you, and I smile when I do. Missing you doesn't empty me, it fills the space with quiet affection. I keep little moments where only you exist, not as memories that hurt, but as reminders that comfort. The way you look when you listen, the calm you bring without trying. Distance hasn't taken those away, it's only taught me how deeply you've settled inside my heart. Some love stays close without touch. I'm still thinking of you in ways that feel peaceful, not longing to replace the now, but allowing the feeling to exist as it is. Even when days are full, you appear quietly between moments, not interrupting, just reminding me that you're part of my rhythm. Missing you doesn't distract me from life, it moves alongside it like a soft undercurrent of affection. Love without losing warmth. I'm still thinking of you, and there's comfort in that truth. I don't rush toward tomorrow, I let today hold what it can. As night arrives, your presence feels closest, not because the distance grows louder, but because the world quiets down. I carry you gently into rest, trusting that this longing isn't a sign of absence, but of connection that knows how to wait. Rindu becomes gentle when love is secure. I'm still thinking of you, and that's where you stay, not as something missing, but as someone held with care. Distance doesn't undo what was built with sincerity. It only asks us to hold each other differently. I don't miss you with sadness, I miss you with warmth, with patience, with certainty that this feeling knows its place. Still thinking of you, softly, constantly, with a heart that remains open until the space between us disappears again. If missing you feels like this, calm, warm, and quietly romantic, then I don't resist it. I let the thought of you stay, because even in distance you're still right here with me. There's a space that lives between moments, not quite empty, not completely full. That's where missing you stays, not loud enough to ache, not quiet enough to disappear. It rests gently, like a thought that knows it will return again without being called. I don't miss you all at once, it happens slowly between breaths, between things left unsaid, in the middle of a sentence, in the pause after laughter fades. You appear there, not demand attention, just reminding me that distance doesn't erase what has already settled deep inside my heart. Some feelings live between moments. I'm between missing and feeling you still near, not reaching out and longing, not pretending you're here. This space doesn't feel empty, it feels quietly shared by us. There are hours when I don't notice the distance at all. Life moves forward naturally, busy and full, and then suddenly something familiar happens. A tone of voice, a phrase I almost send you, a thought that pauses midair. That's where missing you waits, not as interruption, but as a gentle return to what matters most. Connection doesn't ask for constant presence. I'm between missing you and smiling at the thought. My heart doesn't feel torn, it feels held by patience. Distance softens when affection knows where it belongs. I imagine how it will feel to see you again, not with urgency, but with calm certainty. Missing you doesn't rush me, it teaches me how to wait without fear, how to trust that closeness can pause without breaking apart. Waiting becomes gentle when love is steady. cause it's room for memory, for anticipation, for quiet reassurance. I don't fill it with worry, I let it breathe, knowing it connects us instead of pulling us apart. Space can feel warm when trust lies there. Fine between missing you and resting in calm. Nothing here feels uncertain. What we share has learned how to wait with grace. Sometimes I carry a presence without realizing it. It shows up in how I move through the day. A little softer, a little slower. Missing you doesn't distract me, it accompanies me like a quiet reminder that love doesn't disappear when it steps back. Love travels softly through time. I'm between missing you and feeling grounded. I don't chase the feeling away, I let it stay where it feels natural. Evenings carry you closer, not because the distance grows louder, but because stillness arrives in the calm. Your absence becomes presence, not painful, just noticeable in a way that feels tender and familiar. Stillness reveals what matters. I'm between missing you and welcoming the night. I don't feel alone here, I feel connected in a quieter way. As time continues, this space remains familiar. It doesn't shrink, but it doesn't hurt. It simply exists as proof that closeness doesn't demand constant touch. I stay here comfortably between what was and what will be, holding you gently in the middle. Some love lives in between. I'm between missing you and knowing we're okay. Nothing feels lost, nothing feels rushed, just distance that understands its place. Love doesn't disappear when it steps back. Sometimes it waits quietly, letting life move forward without resistance. I don't fill this space with questions, I let it remain as a soft connection that never breaks. Between missing you calmly, patient with a heart that knows this distance isn't the end of closeness. If missing you feels like this, steady, warm, and quietly shared, then I stay right here between now and later, holding you in the spaces that never truly feel empty. Some feelings don't announce themselves. They arrive softly, like a familiar breath in a quiet room. That's how missing you comes to me. Not demand attention, not asking to be named. It settles gently, finding its place without disturbance, and stays there quietly. I don't miss you in obvious ways. There are no restless nights, no heavy sighs waiting to escape. It's quieter than that. It lives in the pauses, in the moments before I speak, in the spaces where your presence once fit so naturally. You appear without warning, not as absence, but as familiarity. Something that hasn't left, only learned to stand a little further away. Some longing whispers instead instead of calling. Quietly I miss you without reaching out. My heart doesn't ache, it remembers. Distance hasn't taken you away. It's only taught me how to hold you more gently. There are moments when the world feels exactly right, complete on its own, and still you pass through my thoughts, not interrupting, just present. I don't question the feeling, I don't ask it to leave. Missing you like this doesn't pull me backward. It walks beside me, keeping pace with the day, never slowing me down. Connection survives in quiet ways. Quietly I miss you, and there's warmth in that truth. I don't rush the distance away. I let patience fill the space where closeness rests, waiting calmly. I imagine you sometimes, not to escape the present, but to soften it. Your voice, your way of listening, the calm you bring without effort. Missing you doesn't unsettle me. It reminds me that what we share has depth enough to remain present, even when we are not. Real closeness doesn't demand proof. Quietly I miss you, and I smile when I do. There's no urgency here, only certainty. What we have is learn how to wait without fear. The days pass gently, I don't count them. Time doesn't feel like something working against us. Missing you fits naturally into the rhythm of living, like a familiar melody that plays softly in the background. Never overwhelming, always comforting, always present. Some love lives in the background. Quietly I miss you, and nothing feels broken. Distance doesn't threaten what is steady. It only changes how closeness is felt. I hold small memories without gripping them tightly. The way you look when you're thoughtful, the calm you bring into silence. These memories don't make me sad. They remind me that missing you is part of loving you, and loving you has always felt safe and sure. Safety grows in trust. Quietly I miss you without longing to replace the now. I let today remain full with just enough of you to feel connected. Evenings feel different, not lonely, just slower. That's when missing you becomes most noticeable. Not as pain, but as presence. I carry the thought of you into rest, knowing this quiet longing knows exactly where it belongs. Stillness reveals the heart. Quietly I miss you, and I don't resist it. I let the feeling stay because it doesn't ask for more than I can give. As time continues, this missing remains gentle. It doesn't grow heavier, it settles deeper. I don't wait impatiently for the distance to end. I trust that what we share moves at its own pace, and that closeness knows how to return when the moment is right. Patience carries real love. Quietly I miss you, and that feels right. No sadness, no urgency, just affection that stays present even in silence. Love doesn't need to be loud to stay alive. Sometimes it survives in quiet thoughts and unspoken warmth. I don't miss you with heaviness, I miss you with calm certainty that this feeling knows how to work. Quietly I miss you, softly, steadily, with a heart that understands. Distance doesn't undo what was built with care. If missing you feels like this. Gentle, warm, and quietly romantic, then I welcome it. Because even in silence, you're still here, held carefully in the calm spaces of my heart. Distance has a strange way of rearranging closeness when bodies move apart. The mind learns how to hold tighter, not with urgency, but with memory and quiet attention. You don't feel farther from me. Somehow you feel closer in my mind. I don't reach for you with restless hands, I reach for you with thought and memory. You appear in the middle of my day without asking permission, in familiar phrases and pauses that feel too gentle to ignore. Being apart hasn't loosened us, it's only taught me how clearly I carry you when nothing else is speaking. Closeness changes shape with distance. You're closer in my mind, even when you're far away. I don't feel the space between us, there's something missing. I feel it as quiet proof that what we share knows how to travel. I imagine the way you listen, not just with your ears, but with your presence. That image stays with me, steady and calming. I don't rush toward reunion with impatience. I let the days move naturally, because thinking of you has become a soft place where my thoughts like to rest. Memory keeps love warm. You're closer in my mind without effort or strain. I don't pull the future forward, I let today be enough, holding just enough of you to feel complete. Sometimes I notice how differently I move through time now. I'm slower, more attentive. Distance has sharpened my awareness instead of dulling it. I notice what matters more clearly, and somehow you're present in that clarity, not as distraction, but as quiet grounding. Awareness deepens connection. You're closer in my mind, and that closeness feels safe. I don't fear the space, I trust it to hold what we share without breaking it. I don't fill the silence with worry, I let it exist as part of the distance. In that silence, I hear you more clearly, the things you say without words, the comfort that doesn't need explanation. Being apart has given me a different kind of intimacy, one that lives quietly inside thought and feeling. Silence can hold meaning. You're closer in my mind, and that brings me calm. I don't count the hours, I let them pass, trusting closeness that doesn't need constant proof. I carry you into small routines, morning tension strengthens love. You're closer in my mind, and I welcome that truth. I don't resist the feeling, I let it stay where it feels natural and warm. At night, your closeness feels clear. It's not because the longing grows, but because the world quiets down in that stillness. My thoughts settle around you. I don't wish the night away, I let it hold this gentle awareness that being apart hasn't created distance inside me. Stillness reveals tremendous. You're closer in my mind, and that feels right. No urgency, no tension, just closeness that understands its season. This doesn't undo what was built with care. Sometimes it refines it. I don't need to touch you to feel close. I feel you in how calmly I can think of you, how gently my heart holds your presence without asking for more. Closer in my mind, softly, steadily, with a heart that knows closeness isn't measured by miles. If being apart brings us here to a closeness that feels calm, intentional and warm, then I accept this distance, because even now you're closer than you've ever been, resting quietly inside my mind. Distance doesn't always arrive with sharp edges. Sometimes it comes quietly, changing the way closeness feels. What once needed touch now lives in thought, in patience, in trust that doesn't hurry. This distance doesn't scare me somehow. It feels soft. Thought being apart would feel heavier than this, that the space between us would press against my chest. But it doesn't, it settles gently like a pause that knows it will end in its own time. I still feel you in familiar ways, and how I breathe more slowly, and how my thoughts return to you without effort. Distance hasn't hardened us, it's softened the way I hold you. Not all distance creates emptiness. Distance feels soft to me, wrapped in calm and trust. I don't fight the space between us, I let it exist, knowing what we share was never fragile. This distance doesn't divide, it rests quietly between two steady hearts.
There are days when I move through life normally uninterrupted, and then there are moments when I notice the absence, not as loss but as awareness. You're not beside me yet, you're present in how grounded I feel. Distance hasn't removed you from my world, it simply changed where you appear. Presence adapts without fading. Distance feels soft to me because
trusting that closeness knows how to return without being chased.
I've learned that longing doesn't have to ache, it can be gentle, almost kind. Missing you doesn't pull me apart, it reminds me how naturally you fit into my thoughts. I don't cling to memories, I let them pass through me. Warm and familiar, never heavy.
Gentle longing still connects. Distance feels soft to me, and I welcome it calmly. I don't see it as an obstacle, I see it as a season, one that asks us to hold each other with patience. Silence between us doesn't feel empty, it feels spacious, a place where trust can breathe, where affection isn't rushed. I don't fill the quiet with worry or doubt, I let it be, knowing silence doesn't weaken what is already proven in steadiness. Silence can be a form of closeness. Distance feels soft to me, and nothing feels certain. I don't question what we are, I rest in the calm assurance that love doesn't vanish when it steps back. I carry you into ordinary moments, walking, resting, waiting, thinking of you. Doesn't interrupt my life, it blends into it. Distance hasn't made you a distant thought, it has made you a quiet, constant, present without effort. Constancy survives space. Distance feels soft to me because my heart feels steady. I don't search for signs, I don't test the space. I trust what has already learned how to last. And the distance feels closest, not because it hurts, but because everything else quiets down. In that stillness I feel how calm my longing is. It doesn't rush me, it simply reminds me that closeness doesn't disappear when bodies are apart. Stillness reveals security. Distance feels soft to me, even in the dark. I don't feel alone here, I feel connected in a quieter, deeper way. As time continues, this softness remains, it doesn't thin or fade. I don't count how long this season lasts, I trust the rhythm we're moving in until the space closes. I keep holding you like this, gently, without strain, without fear. Trust carries time. Distance feels soft to me, and that truth stays calm. No tension, no urgency, just affection that understands its moment. Distance doesn't always test love, sometimes it teaches it how to be quieter, how to be patient. I don't resist the space, I let it shape us gently. Knowing what is real doesn't need to hurry to remain real. Distance feels soft, steady, a space that hurts up without breaking it. If being apart feels like this, safe, gentle and quietly romantic, then I accept the distance, because even now nothing feels far from my heart. Mm-hmm. Some people leave a place when they are not there anymore. You don't, you remain in the quiet details, in the way my thoughts slow down, in the calm that arrives without explanation. Even in distance, you stay with me.
I don't search for you in crowded moments, I find you in the simple ones, when the day exhales, when nothing has to be rushed.
Your presence doesn't announce itself.
It settles naturally like it always belonged there.
Being apart hasn't loosened the way you live in me. It has only taught me that closeness doesn't always need a shared space. Some connections remain without effort. You stay with me even when you're not here, not as memory, but as something living. Distance hasn't taken you away, it's only changed how I feel you beside me.
There are days when life feels full on its own. I move, I work, I smile, and still you're there quietly, woven into my rhythm. I don't pause to hold you.
You arrive without invitation, softening moments that didn't ask to be softened. You don't interrupt my life, you accompany it.
Presence doesn't require permission.
You stay with me without asking for attention. I don't need reminders to feel connected. What we share has learned how to exist without demanding space.
I notice it most when the world slows down, when conversations fade, when noise steps back.
That's when your closeness becomes clearest. Not loud, not urgent, just steady. Being apart hasn't created absence. It has revealed how naturally you belong inside my calm. Stillness reveals truth. You stay with me and that stays comforting. I don't fear the quiet, I trust it to hold what we have without changing it.
I don't carry you as something missing, I carry you something present. Distance hasn't turned you into longing alone. It has turned you into a quiet certainty, the kind that doesn't need proof, the kind that rests without questioning itself.
Certainty doesn't shout. You stay with me and I feel at ease. I don't count the days, I let them pass, knowing closeness isn't measured by proximity.
I don't bring you as something missing, I carry you as something present.
Distance hasn't turned you into longing alone. It has turned you into a quiet certainty, the kind that doesn't need proof, the kind that rests without questioning itself. Certainty doesn't shout. You stay with me and I feel at ease. I don't count the days, I let them pass, knowing closeness isn't measured by proximity.
I'll bring you into ordinary routines, walking home, waiting for evening, small pauses in between, thinking of you. Doesn't pull me away from the moment, it grounds me in it.
Distance hasn't made you distant, it has made your presence more intentional, more quietly felt. Intention strengthens connection. You stay with me without effort or strain. I don't reach out to feel reassured. Your presence has already learned how to stay.
And now your closeness feels most real, not because the longing grows, but because everything else fades in that stillness. I feel how calm this renew is, it doesn't press against my chest.
It rests there warm and familiar, like something that belongs to both of us.
Calm reveals security,
doesn't weaken, it matures. I don't worry about when the distance will close.
I trust that moment will arrive naturally. Until then I keep carrying you this way. Not as something I miss desperately, but as someone who never really left. Trust carries time gently. You stay with me and that feels right. No urgency, no attention, just closeness that understands its season. Distance doesn't remove presence. Sometimes it refines it. I don't need to touch you to feel close. I feel you. And how calmly my heart moves, and how softly my thoughts return to you without asking for more. You stay with me, quietly and steadily, with a heart that knows some love doesn't leave when space appears. If being apart still feels like this, warm, secure, and deeply familiar, then I'm not afraid of distance, because even now you're still here, staying gently with me. Longing doesn't always arrive with restless questions or unease. Sometimes it comes quietly, like a familiar warmth that settles without asking permission. This kind of longing doesn't pull or demand. It stays gentle, patient, and willing to wait with care. I don't miss you with urgency in my chest. There's no rush in the way your absence appears. It comes slowly in moments when the day softens, when voices fade, when time loosens its grip. Thinking of you doesn't make me reach forward. It makes me pause, breathe more evenly, and feel calm inside the space we share, even while apart. Not all longing aches, some of it comforts. I miss you gently, without needing more. My heart doesn't press against the distance. This longing stays warm, resting quietly between us, knowing where it belongs. There are days when I barely notice the space. Life continues naturally, full and steady. And then without warning, your presence returns in a phrase I almost sent, in a laugh that feels familiar. Missing you like this doesn't interrupt my rhythm. It moves alongside it, never pulling me away from where I am. Gentle longing knows its place. I miss you gently, and that feels right. I don't rush the moment we'll meet again. I let today hold what it can, trusting time to close the space in its own way. I imagine you sometimes, not to escape the present, but to soften it. Your voice, your way of being present without effort. Longing doesn't unsettle me. It reminds me how safe this connection feels. Strong enough to remain calm, steady enough to wait without fear. Security quiets the heart. I miss you gently, and there's peace in that truth. I don't ask longing disappear. I let it stay where it belongs, soft, patient, and unafraid of time. Silence between us doesn't feel empty, it feels spacious. A place where trust can rest, where affection isn't rushed. I don't fill the quiet with worry or doubt. I let it breathe, knowing that distance doesn't weaken what was built with care and consistency. Space can feel warm when love is steady. I miss you gently, without fear or tension. This distance isn't a test, it's simply a season asking us to wait with kindness and understanding. I carry you into ordinary moments, morning light, evening calm, small pauses in between. Thinking of you doesn't pull me backward, it grounds me. Longing becomes familiar, not heavy, just present in a way that feels natural and reassuring. Familiarity keeps longing light. I miss you gently and my heart stays steady. I don't count the days, I let them pass, knowing closeness isn't lost in time or distance. At night, the longing becomes clearer, not louder, just more noticeable in the stillness. I don't resist it, I let it settle beside me, warm and calm, like a reminder that some connections know how to wait without fading. Stillness teaches patience. I miss you gently, even in the quiet. I don't feel alone here, I feel connected in a softer, deeper way that doesn't need words. As time continues, this longing doesn't change shape. It doesn't grow heavier, it grows deeper, more certain. I don't hurry the future, I trust it until the space closes. I keep holding you like this, with care, with calm, with a heart that knows how to wait without losing itself. Trust carries longing safely. I miss you gently, and that feels enough. No urgency, no ache, just affection that understands its moment and stays kind. Love doesn't always rush to close the distance. Sometimes it stays right here, learning patience. I don't miss you with desperation, I miss you with warmth, with certainty that this space will one day soften into closeness again. Longing gently, steady, warm and calm. A feeling that waits without fear or doubt. If missing you can feel like this, safe, tender and quietly romantic, then I accept this longing, because even in distance my heart knows exactly how to hold you, without rushing, without breaking, and without letting go. Waiting used to feel like emptiness, like time stretching too far. But somewhere between distance and trust, it changed its shape. Now it feels softer, wrapped in quiet assurance. This waiting doesn't leave tension in my breath. The days move forward naturally, and I move with them. You're not here beside me, yet you're present in how calm my heart feels. Waiting isn't a pause in my life, it's part of it now. Woven gently into everything I do. Patience grows when love feels safe. Waiting feels warm to me, not empty or unsure. I don't count the moments until you return. This waiting holds affection, steady and quiet, keeping my heart at ease. There are days when I barely notice I'm waiting at all. Life fills the hours easily, and then something small happens. A thought, a familiar sound, and I remember you. Not with longing that aches, but with warmth that settles. Waiting like this doesn't take anything from me. It gives me space to trust what we have. Trust softens time. Waiting feels warm to me because love feels steady. I don't rush the future closer, I let it come when it's ready. Knowing closeness hasn't gone anywhere. I used to think waiting meant holding my breath, but now I breathe easily. Distance hasn't made me anxious, it has taught me how secure this connection is. I don't fill the silence with questions, I let it exist. Knowing silence can still carry meaning. Security quiets the mind. Oh, waiting feels warm to me, and I don't resist it. I let patience stay because it doesn't hurt to wait for something that feels real. The evenings are when I notice it most, not the absence but the calm. Waiting settles beside me like a familiar presence. I don't wish the night away, I let it hold this gentle certainty that distance isn't taking anything, it's only asking us to trust a little longer. Calm turns waiting gentle. Waiting feels warm to me, and I don't resist it. I let patience stay because it doesn't hurt to wait for something that feels real. The evenings are when I notice it most, not the absence but the calm. Waiting settles beside me like a familiar presence. I don't wish the night away, I let it hold this gentle certainty that distance isn't taking anything, it's only asking us to trust a little longer. Comfort's waiting in far. Waiting feels warm to me, and my heart stays calm. I don't search for signs to reassure myself. What we share has already learned how to last. At night waiting feels close, it's not heavier, just clearer. In the stillness I feel how settled this longing is. It doesn't rush me toward tomorrow, it stays right here, soft and steady, reminding me that waiting doesn't mean being left behind. Stillness reveals faith here. Waiting feels warm to me, even when the world quiets down. I don't feel the need to hurry time, I let it move, trusting where it leads. warmth doesn't fade, waiting doesn't grow tiring. It deepens into something calm, something short. I don't measure how long it lasts. I trust the rhythm we're in until the moment comes. I stay right here, waiting without worry, without doubt. Trust carries time forward. Waiting feels warm to me, and that feels enough. No impatience, no fear, just affection that understands its moment and stays kind. Waiting isn't a lack of love, sometimes it's proof of it. I don't wait with uncertainty, I wait with calm assurance that what's meant to return will do so naturally. This warmth isn't fragile, it's rooted in trust. Waiting feels warm, steady, quiet and sure. A space where love rests without needing to be rushed. If waiting can feel like this, safe, tender and quietly romantic, then I accept it fully, 'cause every moment of waiting only reminds me that what we share is worth holding exactly as it is, until the distance finally closes. Some people pass through the mind only when called. You don't, you arrive quietly, already there, woven into the way I think and the way I pause before I realize it. You're present in every thought. I don't invite you into my mind, you appear naturally between intentions, between moments that don't ask to be interrupted. In the middle of a task, in the calm before speaking, there you are, not distracting me, grounding me. Distance hasn't pushed you to the edges of my thoughts, it has placed you gently at the center of them. Some connections live quietly. You're in every thought, not loudly, not insistently. My mind doesn't search for you, it simply knows where you belong. Even apart, you remain present without effort. There are days when my thoughts move quickly, life asks for focus, for attention, and still you're there beneath it all, steady and familiar. I don't stop to hold you, I don't pause to miss you. You exist alongside everything else, like a constant rhythm that keeps my mind calm. Even when the world moves fast, presence doesn't require attention. You're in every thought and that feels natural. I don't push the feeling away, I let it stay, because it doesn't overwhelm, it reassures. Sometimes I notice you most when nothing is happening, in quiet rooms and moments of stillness. That's when your presence becomes clearest, not as longing, but as familiarity. Missing you doesn't take over my mind, it settles into it, becoming part of how I see, how I reflect, how I breathe through the day. Familiar love creates calm. You're in every thought and my heart feels steady. I don't question the distance, I trust what remains, even when we're not together. I don't replay moments to hold on to you, I don't force memory to feel close. You arrive on your own in ways that feel effortless. Distance hasn't turned you into something I chase it has turned you into something I carry lightly, without strain, without fear of losing. Carrying love can be gentle. You're in every thought and art dance and at ease. I don't question the distance, I trust what remains. Even when we're not together, I don't replay moments to hold on to you. I don't force memory to feel close. You arrive on your own in ways that feel effortless. Distance hasn't turned you into something I chase, it has turned you into something I carry lightly, without strain, without fear of losing. Carrying love can be gentle. You're in every thought and that brings me ease. I don't feel the need to reach out constantly, knowing you're there over in the now awareness. Already your presence presence changes the way I move. I'm calmer, more attentive. Thinking of you doesn't pull me away from the present. It anchors me to a distance, hasn't scattered my mind. It is focused, it taught it how to hold someone without holding too tightly. Balance keeps love steady. You're in every thought without effort or demand. I don't wait for silence to feel you. You're already there, woven into my awareness. At night your presence feels softer, more noticeable. Not because longing grows, but because everything else fades. In the quiet my thoughts return to you naturally. I don't resist them, I let them pass gently, knowing this closeness doesn't need to be controlled to remain real. Stillness reveals truth. You're in every thought, even as I rest. I don't feel alone here, I feel accompanied by something familiar, something kind. As time continues, this presence doesn't change. It doesn't grow louder or quieter, it simply stays. I don't wonder when it will fade, I trust it, because what settles this naturally was never temporary. You remain with me this way, thought by thought, moment by moment. Real closeness endures. You're in every thought and that feels right. No urgency, no fear, just closeness that understands. Distance doesn't erase connection. Love doesn't always live in conversation or touch. Sometimes it lives in awareness, in the way one person quietly shapes how another thinks. I don't need to call you to feel close. You're already here, resting calmly in my mind. In every thought, softly, steadily, with a heart that knows some love doesn't leave when space appears. If being apart still means you're here like this, present, gentle and warm, then I'm not afraid of distance. Because wherever my thoughts go, you're already there, waiting quietly, without ever needing to be asked. Missing doesn't always arrive with emptiness behind it. Sometimes it comes carrying a quiet certainty that love I notice the difference now, how missing you doesn't hollow my days. There's no echo in my chest, no ache asking to be filled. Instead, there's presence, soft, steady, familiar. I carry your absence without it weighing me down. Distance hasn't isolated me, it has shown me how full connection can feel, even while waiting. Not all missing creates emptiness. I'm missing you, but I'm not lonely. My heart isn't searching for replacement. What we have stays with me, warm and calm, making this space feel lifting.
There are moments when the room feels quiet and still.
It doesn't feel empty.
Your presence lingers in how relaxed I am, and how my thoughts settle easily. I don't reach for noise to distract myself. I don't rush time forward. Missing you like this
Doesn't pull me away from life, it walks alongside it. Connection can remain without closeness. I'm missing you, but I'm not lonely. I don't feel the need to fill the hours. This waiting isn't hollow, it's held by trust.
I used to think missing someone meant lacking something, but now I know better.
Missing you feels like recognition, like remembering what matters. It doesn't ask me to abandon the present. It allows me to stay right here, grounded, knowing closeness doesn't vanish just because it pauses. Understanding softens longing. I'm missing you, but I'm not lonely. My days still feel complete. I don't wait in pieces, I wait whole, with affection that knows where it belongs.
I move through routines without feeling left behind. Morning arrives gently, evenings settle calmly.
Thinking of you doesn't interrupt my rhythm, it blends into it. Distance hasn't turned you into something unreachable. It has made you a quiet companion within my thoughts. Presence adapts to space. I'm missing you, but I'm not lonely. My heart doesn't wander, it stays right here, holding you for thoughts day without asking to be near.
I don't confuse loneliness with silence anymore. Silence can be gentle,
Even reassuring in the quiet, I feel how stable this connection is. I don't need constant reminders, I don't test the distance. Missing you doesn't weaken me, it steadies me. And knowing what we have isn't fragile,
the stability quiets
the mind. I'm missing you, but I'm not lonely. My heart doesn't wander, it stays right here, holding warmth without strain. At night, the feeling becomes clearer, not heavier, just more present. I don't resist it, I let missing you sit beside me. Comfortable and familiar, it doesn't keep me awake, it helps me rest knowing this space is filled with trust. Calm protects connection. I'm missing you, but I'm not lonely. Even in the dark, I feel accompanied by something real and kind.
As time continues, this knowing deepens. I don't fear the distance, I don't rush rush its end. I trust the rhythm moving in until the space closes. I remain right here, missing you without losing myself, without feeling alone. Wholeness allows waiting. I'm missing you, but I'm not lonely. No sadness, no doubt, just affection that understands its season. Loneliness comes from absence of connection. This isn't that what I feel is presence, taking a different shape. I don't miss you with emptiness, I miss you with fullness, with certainty that this space is already shared. Missing, not lonely, steady, warm and calm. A heart that waits without feeling left behind. If missing you can feel like this, complete, secure and quietly romantic, then I accept the distance. Cause even now I'm not alone at all. I'm simply holding you in a way that doesn't need to hurry. There's a kind of closeness that doesn't need touch to exist. It lives quietly in the way the heart leans without falling. We're not standing side by side, yet it feels like we almost are close enough to sense each other's presence in the stillness. I move through the day with the feeling that you're near, not beside me but not far either. It's in the way my shoulders relax and how my thoughts soften. Distance hasn't pushed you away, it has placed you just close enough to feel familiar, almost beside me, like a presence waiting patiently to step closer. Closeness doesn't always need presence. You're almost beside me in the way my heart stays calm. I don't reach out in urgency, I don't feel the gap. This space feels gentle, as if we're standing just one step apart, already connected. Almost expecting to see you there, not because I forget the distance, but because closeness feels natural. You exist in my awareness without effort. Being apart hasn't trained me to feel alone, it has trained me to recognize presence in quieter forms, in the way affection doesn't need proof. Familiarity survives space. You're almost beside me, even without touch. I don't miss you with frustration. I hold you in a way that feels patient, warm and unforced. I imagine simple moments, walking without speaking, sharing silence. Those thoughts don't ache, they comfort me. Almost beside you feels like rehearsal, not longing, a quiet knowing that closeness hasn't disappeared. It's just learning its timing. Anticipation can be peaceful. Dream, you're almost beside me, and that feels enough for now. I don't rush what's coming, I let closeness stay right where it is, steady and calm. Silence between us doesn't stretch uncomfortably. It feels shared, like we're both listening
to the same quiet distance hasn't changed the way we understand each other. It has refined it, made it softer, more intentional, more aware of what matters. Shared quiet creates intimacy. You're almost beside me, and my heart recognizes that truth. Nothing feels missing here. This space knows how to hold us without pressure. I carry this closeness into ordinary routines, pauses, breathes, moments that don't ask to be special. Thinking of you doesn't interrupt my life, it aligns with it. Almost beside you feels like walking forward with quiet company. Never rushed, never alone. Connection adapts naturally. You're almost beside me, and I don't question it. I trust what I feel, I trust the space to close itself in time without being forced. I carry this closeness into ordinary routines, pauses, breathes, moments that don't ask to be special. Thinking of you doesn't interrupt my life, it aligns with it. Almost beside you feels like walking forward with quiet company. Never rushed, never alone. Connection adapts naturally. You're almost beside me, and that feels right. No tension about just closeness that understands its timing. Some love doesn't rush to arrive fully formed. It approaches slowly, learning the shape of patience. I don't need you to be right here to feel close. I feel you, and how calmly I wait, and how gently my heart leans towards you without falling. Almost beside you, steady, warm, and near. A closeness that waits without fear or hurry. If being almost beside you already feels this calm, this warm, this certain, then I'm not in a hurry. Because every step closer is already happening quietly with care, until almost becomes beside. Absence doesn't always mean empty hands. Sometimes it means holding differently, with memory, with patience, with a heart that knows how to stay close without touch. Even when you're not here, I'm still holding you carefully. In absence, I don't reach for you with desperation. I reach with awareness, knowing what we share doesn't disappear with distance. Your presence remains in how gently I move through the day, and how my thoughts return to you without urgency. Absence hasn't loosened my grip, it has taught me how to hold without pressing. Not all holding needs hands. I'm holding you in absence, not letting go, not pulling closer. My heart knows your place, even when space stands between us. This distance doesn't erase, it reshapes how I keep you near. moments when I feel you most clearly. Not in noise, but in calm. In pauses between thoughts, in the stillness before sleep. I don't chase those moments, I let them arrive naturally. Holding you like this doesn't drain me, it steadies me, reminding me that love doesn't require constant presence to survive. Stillness carries connection. I'm holding you in absence, with trust instead of fear. I don't tighten my heart to feel secure. What we share as safely, even when we are apart. I'm holding you in absence, with trust instead of fear. I don't tighten my heart to feel secure. What we share as safely, even when we are apart. I imagine you sometimes, not to escape this moment, but to soften it. Your voice, your quiet way of listening. These images don't hurt, they comfort. Holding you in absence feels like knowing that closeness can't exist without proximity, that love can wait without weakening. Closeness adapts to distance. I'm holding you in absence, and that holding feels calm. I don't rush time forward, I let each day arrive, carrying you gently inside it. Silence between us doesn't feel like loss, it feels like space, room for trust, room for patience. I don't fill it with doubt, I let it breathe. Holding you this way doesn't ask for proof, it rests on what we already know. To be real, trust gives distance meaning. I'm holding you in absence, when our herbs stay steady. Nothing feels fragile here. What we have has learned how to stay without constant touch. I carry you into ordinary moments, walking, waiting, resting, thinking of you. Doesn't interrupt my life, it integrates with it. Absence hasn't turned you into longing alone, it has turned you into a steady presence that moves with me through each day. Presence isn't limited by space. I'm holding you in absence, and my heart stays steady. I don't search for reassurance, this holding is enough, just as it is. At night, the holding feels deeper, not heavier, more aware in the quiet. I feel how settled this connection is. It doesn't keep me awake, it helps me rest, knowing what I hold isn't slipping away. Security lives in trust. I'm holding you in absence, even in the dark. I don't feel alone here, I feel accompanied by something steady and kind. As time continues, this holding doesn't weaken, it matures. I don't worry about when absence turns into presence. I trust that moment will arrive. Until then, I hold you like this, with care, with patience, with a heart that knows how to wait. Patience protects love. I'm holding you in absence, and that feels right. No strain, no fear, just closeness that understands its season. Love doesn't disappear when hands are empty. Sometimes it settles deeper, learning how to stay without being seen. I don't hold you to prevent distance, I hold you because my heart knows exactly how to keep you. Goodbyes don't always mean endings. Sometimes they are pauses, spoken gently, with trust woven between the words. This isn't letting go. It's knowing when to wait. So I say it softly until we meet again. I don't mark this moment with sadness. I mark it with awareness that what we share isn't bound to a single time or place. Distance asks us to pause, not to forget. I carry you forward without needing to hold you tightly. This goodbye feels calm because it isn't final. It's simply space before closeness returns. Some partings carry trust until we meet again. I hold you gently in my days. I don't fear the distance, I let it be what it needs to be. A quiet bridge between now and then. There are things I don't rush to say, not because they don't matter, but because they already live in how we understand each other. Meeting again isn't a question, it's a matter of time. And I don't count the hours, I let them pass, knowing what waits for us doesn't need to be chased. Certainty doesn't hurry until we meet again. My heart stays steady, I don't press against the future. I trust it to arrive naturally, bringing us back to where closeness belongs. I imagine that moment without impatience, the ease of familiar presence, the quiet recognition. Thinking of it doesn't pull me away from today. It gives today meaning, because waiting with trust is different from waiting with doubt. And this waiting feels kind. Hope can be calm until we meet again. I stay right here, not suspended, not incomplete, just present, holding what we share with care. Silence between us isn't empty, it's filled with knowing, with conversation already had, with understanding that doesn't fade. I don't fill the quiet with worry, I let it rest, because silence has learned how to keep us close. Quiet can be intimate until we meet again. Nothing feels lost, this space doesn't erase us, it keeps us exactly where we are. Connected, even apart, I carry this goodbye into ordinary moments. Walking, breathing, resting, it doesn't interrupt my life, it moves with it. Saying until we meet again doesn't close a door, it leaves it open gently without forcing the handle. Open endings hold promise until we meet again. My heart stays warm, I don't replay the past to stay close. I let the present hold enough of you to feel complete. At night this phrase feels clear, it's not heavy, reassuring, it settles in a rest like a promise that doesn't need words. I sleep without tension, knowing distance hasn't changed what matters. Peace protects connection until we meet again. I'll wait without fear, time isn't working against us, it's simply moving, bringing us closer. closer in its own way. As days continue, this goodbye stays gentle. It doesn't sharpen with time, it softens. I don't wonder if we'll lose our way. I trust the path we're already on, until the moment comes. I keep walking forward, carrying you without weight, without doubt. Trust to stay waiting until we meet again. And that feels right, no urgency, no fear, just closeness that understands its season. Some love doesn't need constant presence to survive. It only needs honesty, patience, and space to breathe. I don't say goodbye to create distance, I say it to honor the moment before closeness returns. Until we meet again, softly, calmly, with a heart that knows this isn't an ending, it's a pause filled with trust. If this is where we stand for now, separate yet connected, waiting without fear, then I'm at peace. Because every goodbye spoken this way already carries the certainty of meeting again.